Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. One of the top 3 questions I get regarding film photography is how I deal with X-ray scanners when flying. What you can hear a lot is that ISO 400 films or even up to ISO 800, it's fine. But if you have such a roll and you get it scanned a couple of times, then this will add up and in the end, the X-rays will still damage your film. Last year I uploaded a video talking about how I travel with gear, and regarding film, I had an idea. Because I have a lot of traveling lined up for this year, I want to bring this roll of Tmax P3200 and I will put it in my carry-on bag and I will have it go through the X-ray machine every time I fly. I chose a 3200 speed film because this should be the most sensitive to X-rays. It took a bit longer than expected, but I wanted to expose the film to as many X-ray scans as possible. Yep, that pun was intended. So that roll of film got scanned 15 times in the end, and that should give us a good idea what to expect, even though it wasn't a scientific test. The negatives and scans are back from the lab, and I shot this roll with a Nikon FM2. And I asked you over on Instagram what you think, if the results will be usable or not, and 62% of you said that the results will be usable. The rest said no, so yeah, I would say without further ado, let's have a look. At the time I was in Phnom Penh in Cambodia, and since I had no plans to visit Angkor Wat, I thought it might be a good idea to visit an old temple that is not too far out of the city. I hired a tuk-tuk for half a day and it took a little over an hour to get to the location. The place is called La Prom Temple, in case you want to know. After arrival it was a little too hot and the sun was too harsh, so I've decided to chill for a bit.
Whoa!
Next to the FM2 I also brought my M6, which I loaded with some Kodak Ektar 100, since the colors there were so beautiful and in order to you to see the images in black and white and in color. Then it was time to start shooting. The P3200 in the FM2 was rated at 1600 and I used the built-in meter of the Nikon. The Ektar in my M6 was shot at 50 and to meter I used an external light meter. The reason I didn't use the external one for both cameras was that I was simply too lazy to change the settings in the meter to get a reading for both cameras.
So 500 at f2 for the M6. And 1/4000 at f4 for the Nikon.
Oh, wait a minute, what is that? These artifacts got me really confused in the beginning because I thought maybe they were caused by the X-rays, but when I look closely I've realized that it's a double exposure, because I've used this roll before apparently, which is something I didn't expect. But only for a couple of shots, and later on there won't be any artifacts anymore. And in the end some of the photos turned out really interesting because of the double exposure. The cows weren't very cooperative, maybe they were just too shy. However, the owner was a very friendly guy and agreed to pose for some quick test shots. I mean portraits.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you. One-30th at f2. This is Tomb Raider, pretty much Tomb Raider style, yeah. And here we're looking at 1/250th at f2. Alright guys, I think that's enough of this new place. Let's head over to the really old one. I think it's like 800 years or something. And I can already see it. Looks pretty cool.
While I was shooting, there were some clouds rolling in, and unfortunately the lighting wasn't as great as I hoped it would be. The double exposures make this look very interesting. I think I used this roll for a couple of shots in Croatia last year. No more double exposures from now on, finally. In case you want to know which lenses I was using, on the M6 a 28mm Summicron, the most recent version, and on the Nikon FM2 the Voigtlander 40mm f2. Apparently, standing on rocks to pose for photos is very popular over there. Before heading back to Phnom Penh, I finished off the rolls with some portraits of my driver. Here I used the Voigtlander 58 1.4. Alright guys, 1 year later the experiment finally came to an end, and besides the stupid mistake with the double exposures, I was really surprised that there was no visible damage by the X-rays. To clarify things, the film had always been in my carry-on bag because I usually don't check it. And I would not suggest to, because those scanners are much stronger and for sure would harm your film. Up until now I've always asked for a hand check my film. And even though the results were pretty promising and they look really good, I would still keep doing this, and I would recommend you do the same. But for some reason, if hand check is not possible, this should give you some peace of mind at least. Now, there have been reports of a new kind of scanner that almost looks like a CT. And what I've heard is that those scanners are much more powerful and they will probably ruin your film. I'm not sure if they are only available in the US or if other countries will also adopt this new technology. Some of the major film companies just recently came up with stickers like this one. Maybe if you put this on your bag, it might help to convince them to hand check your film. Some people, they use bags that block X-rays, but personally I've never used them, but in case you're interested, I will put a link below the video and you can see for yourself. Talking about film, a friend of mine is currently working on a software tool that will automatically detect and remove scratches and dust from negatives or film scans. This is very useful if you're using a digital camera to scan your film, or if your scanner doesn't support digital eyes. And it should also work with black and white images. However, he will need a ton of film scans to make this happen, and I've already contributed roughly 500 scans, and it would be super awesome if you could do the same. And maybe you want to challenge me and upload more than I did, that would be super awesome. And of course, it's not hard to do this. You only need scans that are low res. So the ones I've uploaded, they are 2000 pixels on the longest side. And it doesn't matter if they contain scratches or dust at all. Even though they have no dust, no scratches, it's still fine. So I will put the link below this video, and it would be super cool if you could check it out. And maybe in a couple months, maybe in a year or two, we have a really cool tool that will help us to get rid of dust and what makes the whole process really easy. That would be super, super awesome. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. And I hope you liked my kind of experiment that I did. And in case you haven't checked out my zine 28, where I shot a lot of street photography in Cairo, please check it out. I will also leave the link in the description box down below. And as always, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and we will see each other very soon in the next one. Until then, auf Wiedersehen.